Hello again and welcome to DanWhiteBooks, the book review channel where we add insight into the worlds of literature, both for those who do read and those who don't. Today I'm reviewing a classic in literature and a book that is often studied in various capacities, and for good reason, although it can have its negatives, being forced to hunker down to a book, and so people either love this or hate it or just have bad memories from it. It is a very famous book indeed, and that is of course The Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Lord of the Flies was another book I'd heard and seen plastered all over the place, however one which I hadn't the foggiest clue as to what it was about. I'd often heard people quote in jest, "What is this, Lord of the Flies?" And it soon became apparent to me that this book was centralised around children, or at least some type of society where adults were out of the picture. I consider myself fortunate that I was not forced to read this piece for the purpose of an English grade, as I can see by looking online that most were, and as a result their dislike for this book is strong. More, maybe it's annoyance less than dislike when you get ground a book into you constantly and you don't actually want to, or it's just forced on you and you kind of don't want to read it. You can be expected to perhaps have a distaste for it. This review will not have such prejudgments and will be written from the perspective of my own experience, that is to say, one man reading it for the very first time. The Lord of the Flies details the tales and struggles of a group of adolescent male children stranded on a desert island after a plane accident. There are no grown-ups to be seen, and so the children band together in the hope to survive on the island indefinitely or until rescue. However, as you may guess, this is far from a smooth process, with personality clashes and paranoia gripping the boys and younger children, and making for a tale that is in parts brutal, terrifying, and awkwardly believable. We start with main character Ralph, who is elected leader by the children around him on the basis that he holds a conch he has found in a nearby pool. The conch in effect signifies order and is used at numerous points to gather the group of children together and to make sure people are not spoken over. Although this book starts with the boys making decisions and attempting to bring order, things slowly change and the fear of a terrifying beast that lurks the island pushes rationale and logic out the window. The book manages to make a powerful statement on that of fear, selfishness, pride, and ignorance. These bleeding emotions soon drive a group forward, and decision-making is masked and mocked, with power-hungry individuals clashing and darker traits of human nature shining through. Golding does a fantastic job in making you feel despair for this group of children, and in creating a scenario, if far more potent, that can be mirrored in waking life. Under the influence of paranoia, individuals act differently. Particularly if answers and solutions cannot be provided, the mind works to feed its will, and this descension to chaos from an attempt at order creates a dark tale, and one that will certainly raise eyebrows. The boys ravage the island and upset the natural balance, and at every turn this presence can be seen and felt. Savagery takes hold, and the boys, pleading reason or standing up to the established order, face dire consequences. William Golding creates a book that frighteningly peers into the soul and reveals the bleak side of disorder and rule, particularly of power structures that take a hold despite being unfair and unjust. Those caught trying to do the right thing or standing up against it are labelled as bad and are hunted down, and those trends are ones we can all too often see in the real world, sometimes on a scale shockingly comparable, and at other times in smaller steps, perhaps the way people flock to that which everyone else is doing, despite not knowing how cruel such a thing is. History is littered with such tales. The rule of power too often can be the rule of voice, and when such a power is founded on the premise of fear, disaster lurks. And within the pages of these books you get a taste of how the notion of order can soon be thrown to the discomfort of chaos, and all while people concede themselves to be right, despite atrocities happening around them. It is a shame that some people do dislike this book, perhaps because they did it for an educational award, a GCSE, wherever you are in the world, some type of certificate of education. I can partly understand why the book is studied, for there is certainly a great deal to comment on. However, it's just disheartening, as I found this such a pleasure to read and highly thought-provoking. It's a shame when it's taught it seems to be twisted into something that's just laborious and boring. For those unsure of this piece, I would say don't hesitate. The resemblance to life, at least if you look for it, and the taste of why humans can act so foolishly despite having such intelligence is something I feel would benefit any would-be reader, and thus I would highly recommend this book. So with that in mind, I would rate this book very highly and would give it a 9 out of 10. It is quite a shocking tale in of itself, but behind that, like all the greatest books, and it's not too hard to see it, behind that is another story of us, of how we behave in times of fear and desperation, and how things can quickly descend to chaos. And this book does a brilliant job at captivating that idea and that tale of peace to anarchy. And that there is why you should read this book. I can assure you it's good enough on those merits alone. There were a few critiques. I did have certain descriptions. It might just because it's an older book. I was struggling to imagine in my head. I think that's a minor critique, particularly really the descriptions of the environment sometimes were a bit here and there, but still the tale itself and the characters, of which I've really not spoken too much of in this review, because I'd like you to of course pick up the book and have a look, are very good, very well done, and I can see why this book has such a reputation about it, because of the tale it's telling and the meaning that can easily be linked to other things without much of a thought, to be honest, and that is certainly why I think you should read it. My friends, thank you again for watching DanWhiteBooks. I thank you for taking a little bit of your time here to watch a book review. I have loads of books to review because I'm behind. As you know, my laptop broke recently, so I've had a bit of catching up to do, but I've got plenty more book reviews to come. I'm hoping to do more content. And let me know your own thoughts of this book. How did you find it? How did it make you feel? Was it boring? Am I just trying to be an intellectual snob? Let me know in the comments below. Of course, if you liked the book review, give me a like. If you didn't, then give me a dislike. I appreciate the feedback, and I thank you very much for watching. I will see you here again soon. Bye-bye.